Very good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the NASSCOM Immersive Series. Today's topic is sustainability, the way forward, or the next frontier for Indian ER&D. To speak about this topic, we have a very esteemed panel comprising of Rahmat Khan, Ravindra Balkrishna Sheth, Jayant Joshi, and Deepak Bisht. I would like to take this opportunity to have them introduce themselves. Let's start with Rahmat. Why don't you do a quick introduction of yourself?
Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Rahmat Khan, and I'm the Vice President of Energy Management, CTO Office India from Schneider Electric. First and foremost, I thank all of you for inviting me as one of the speakers for this esteemed series. I'm really excited. I come with 22 plus years of industry experience in networking, data storage, and energy management domains, and I've been working for Schneider Electric in the past 2 years.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rahmat. Over to you, Jayant.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be part of this series. And thank you, Karan, as well as Avinash, for inviting me. And thank you to NASCOM members as well for a topic which is actually very close to my heart. Before I start my introduction, I just want to say that sustainability as such is not new for India. Yeah, it has always been part of our Indian ethos for a long time. If I remember, I grew up in Hyderabad, and when we were kids, right, we used to get newspapers in our home, and the newspapers would be tied up with a cut section of a tube, cycle tube. Yeah, and that's where we learned about reuse. And then later we used to use those cut section of tube for making paper bullets and maybe troubling our classmates in school. So really, I think this is not new for India. I'm very glad to be part of this movement within Forisha Clean Mobility. And well, clean mobility, the sustainability is itself in its name. And honestly, our purpose is to contribute to a greener earth. And before Forvia, I was working at General Motors, and there as well, I was part of electrification team. So very happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Jayant, and thanks for also setting the context for the discussion that we're going to have today. Moving on to Ravindra, your introduction, please.
Thanks, Karan, and hello, good morning, very good morning to everybody. So I'm Ravindra, and I head the Smart Things IoT platform at Samsung Research, Bangalore. So Smart Things IoT platform is a smart home platform. So it's our task to make the future ready and easy for people, as well as make it like a responsible home going into the future with the technologies we are developing. So looking forward to a good discussion.
Thank you so much, Ravindra. And finally, we have Deepak from Honeywell.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Deepak Bisht. I lead the Honeywell India Technology Center in Gurgaon. This is one of the 4 technology development centers in India. The others are located in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Madurai. And the focus of each of these technology centers are different. The center which I lead is primarily focused on oil and gas, and a very strong focus on how do we make fuel sustainable, how do we recycle waste plastics, how do we really address the CO2 concerns. So we develop technologies to address some of these things. I've been in industry for around 27 years with more than 21 years in Honeywell. Happy to be part of this discussion.
Thank you so much, Deepak, and thanks to all the panelists as well for a wonderful introduction. And let's get started. In the recent times, sustainability has gained a lot of prominence. It's no longer a buzzword. It is becoming mainstream. But at the same time, there are skeptics who would say that it's just greenwashing that's happening, or there's just a green sheen. But what we would like to explore as part of today's conversation is, from your perspective, how big a priority it is, right? So we want to dispel some myths about what exists amongst most people in terms of how important a priority it is for your organization, and what is driving this priority? So Jayant, let's start with you.
Okay, thanks, Karan. So maybe I'll start with another story. Yeah. So, long time back, there was a probe which was sent across by NASA. It was called Voyager 1. Yeah. And it reached Saturn, and it was just about to go out of the solar system. And for one small moment, what NASA did, influenced by Carl Sagan, who is a very important science fiction novelist, was to take a look back, yeah, and look towards Earth. And what they found was a pale blue dot, a pale blue dot in a stream of sunlight. Yeah, and I think that's very important to keep in mind always, that we are a small planet in an abyss of darkness, spread millions and millions kilometers. So at Foratia as well, we take this very, very seriously, especially in clean mobility as well. And our theme is inspired to care. Yeah, we are inspired to care about the planet, care about the business, care about the people. Today's discussion, of course, will focus more on the planet, but we have similar activities on business as well as on people front, allied to the sustainability initiative. And we are not doing it just because our OEM wants it or because we want better scores on ESG. That's absolutely not the idea. But we want because we are trying to do this because we want to do this. Yeah. And our goal is minus 45% reduction in carbon footprint by 2019, and by 2045 carbon neutral. Yeah. And we are probably one of the few tier 1 companies who have declared this as a clear goal. And for sure, we are working very closely towards this objective.
It's wonderful to know. So while we got a perspective from the automotive industry, so let's move on to the industrial segment where we have Rahmat. If you can share your views on how important it is from a company standpoint and shed some light on it.
Sure. Thanks. I think coming from Schneider Electric, we all know Schneider Electric is a company which is like a sustainable company. Through digital transformation and next generation automation, we have been helping our customers in their sustainability and digital journey. So as an impact company, actually, and coming from Schneider Electric, we have our commitments. We are commitments to engaging with sustainability on all the fronts. We are looking at from a climate change perspective. We're talking about how we utilize the resource in a right way, how we are more inclusive, how we bring in gender diversity. So we are actually leading the net zero transition today, and we are ready to bridge business resilience and sustainability. So to do that, Schneider Electric at a corporate level, we have our sustainability impact program, which focuses on achieving environmental, we talk about it as ESG, where we're talking about environmental, social, and governance target, as well as carbon neutrality by 2050 is 2025 is one of the target that we have it. And I'm sure with this we are trying to support want to fight the climate changes that is there today. We want to look at how we can bring in reduce social inequality, fulfill a lot of local commitments. So hence I can say that from a sustainability perspective, the Schneider Electric headquarter have plays a crucial role. They have we have our goals set. We are promoting in each of the locations, like for instance our India R&D center, and implementing these sustainability practices within our organization in the right way, in the way that has been set by our headquarters, right? And being part of CTO office, and I think one of the main vision that me and my team follow is to be a technology enabler for all the businesses, irrespective whether it is energy management or industrial automation business under Schneider Electric. Our main aim is to support them in their sustainability and digital journey through technology transformations. So that is one of the things that we are looking at. And what are these drivers, as you're saying, right, which is really helping us towards sustainability? I think one of the drivers, we can also say these are the beliefs and drivers that we follow from a sustainability perspective. One of that is reputation and brand. So we all know that we understand that sustainability is becoming increasingly important to all our customers, partners, even investors, the public around, right? So embracing sustainability practices in an organization, we all know it's very important. It enhances our reputation, it strengthens our brand, and also helps us collaborate with a lot of stakeholders and customers. So this is one point. The other driver that we are looking at today is the risk management. So if I have to see from a risk perspective, there are multiple risks that we come across as as part of a business or a regular commitments are the regulatory compliance. We are really running short, having a resource scarcity. We are facing these climate problems, right? And these things are really impacted all our business operations. So by prioritizing sustainability, I think we are able to identify, we are able to mitigate through innovation ideas. We can mitigate this risk. We can see that we ensure a long term resilience and also continuity for all the businesses and for all the customers, right? Other than that, the third point that I feel which is most critical from a sustainability perspective and why it is critical, why it is so crucial, is the cost savings, I think. So some from a sustainability perspective, the initiatives of sustainability and the innovations that leads to the sustainability are really helping us from a cost saving perspective. Like for instance, Schneider has last 15 plus years already always talking about energy efficiency, and we are talking about how we reduce the waste, right? And how we optimize our resources. So these are the areas which are really helping us, because that will really, these practices can really improve our operational efficiency. It will reduce expenses because we are talking about recycling materials, we are talking of saving energy, and also enhances the financial performance. So this is the third driver that we feel is really important from a sustainability perspective. The fourth and fifth one is about the innovation and market opportunities, and also our employee engagement. So both are interconnected, right, in certain ways. So we know that sustainability is driving innovation, right? We all are looking at that, and this is actually opening up a lot of market opportunities, a lot of new businesses for all the organization today in the world, right? So by embracing all these technologies, the latest state of the art technologies, and building our products and services aligning with these technologies, actually helping us rapidly grow our business, and build the right sustainable solutions that our customers are looking at. Actually, that's one thing. And from an employee engagement, which is again interconnected, by doing innovation, coming up with these innovation solutions, we are actually boosting our employees. We are giving them the opportunity to work on and come up with real good sustainable solutions, which actually builds a sense of purpose among them. So all these things I feel are the real drivers which are helping us with from a sustainability perspective, and how from a GCC perspective, from a India R&D team, we are aligning to our headquarter a strategy that we have set for sustainability.
That's very interesting, Rahmat. In a way, Schneider Electric is probably in the business of sustainability itself, right? So those were very interesting insights. Moving on to Ravindra, maybe you could share some thoughts in terms from the perspective of a consumer electronics company like Samsung.
Yeah, I mean, so being a consumer electronics company, I think we are very much connected to the well-being of our consumers, because they will drive our future business too, not only today but in future. So let me, if we are working with various labs. So one of the labs is Patagonia, and on plastics getting into the oceans, right? So if you look at some of the studies, each of us today are ingesting around 1 credit card worth of plastic through water, through air that we breathe every week, right? So importance of sustainability is driven through this fact that each of our children, our elders, everybody is ingesting a credit card worth of plastic every week. Now, and around 14 million tons of plastic is getting accumulated in the ocean bottoms today. It's coming back into our food cycles, and 35% of that is coming from something like your synthetic clothing, which is washed in your washing machines, right? And it is shredding those synthetic fibers, which are getting back into the water system and back into the ocean, right? So there is the whole lifestyle that we build with the technology for our consumers should also commit to this sustainability. Of course, as a corporate, for us, technology which makes sustainable technology is the goal. We look at sustainability not only at the environment level, we look at it at the labor and human rights level. We look at it as a corporate citizenship, being a good ESG citizen. And of course, some things which sometimes we cannot control is the sustainable supply chain. So how do we ensure that the supply chain is also sustainable, right? So help not only choose the right partners, but also help develop the supply chain. So like our commitment is, like if I look at the latest announcements of Fold 5 and Flip 5 series and the S9 tablet series, we're increasingly doubling, our recycled plastic usage, ocean-bound plastic usage, glass usage, aluminum usage. We are recycling. So if you ask me importance of sustainability, it's actually, unless our consumers are there in the future healthy, we as a tech company will not be there. So it's that important. It's a survival thing, and it's important for us to lead a very bright and green future in the future. Yeah.
That's very interesting, Ravindra. Over to you, Deepak, from a Honeywell standpoint.
If you look at sustainability, it continues to be a very critical element of Honeywell's pedagogy. It's a critical factor not only for the environmental stewardship perspective, but also our long-term business priorities. And even if the terms like ESG is appearing now more often than in past, we have been into this for almost 20 years. And these are all focused through how do we optimize energy, how do we lower emission monitoring and reduction, how do we drive new renewable energies and materials, and how do we really do carbon capture and utilization. All these things are now being driven primarily from three major drivers. We understand the need to address the climate change, and we all know about the impact we are having, changing in climate, increase in the level of oceans, and that's creating a lot of havoc all across. We are also seeing that there is a lot of interest with many of the customers who are now demanding sustainable products. And then for us, it's a potential for new innovation, new business opportunities. And absolutely, these are three factors which are driving it. Just to give you a holistic view, 60% of the products and services we sell have got ESG orientation. 60% of our R&D investment goes into ESG related product development. So absolutely, we have very, very strong focus on driving sustainable product. And if you look at from since 2004, we have been trying to work on various aspects of ESG, and we have achieved 90% reductions on our greenhouse gas intensity. These are instrumental in helping us reach our carbon neutrality goals by 2035. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Now, that's the reason why I say, like, for us, ESG is not something which is new. We all use detergents. How many of you know that Honeywell has a big role to play in making those detergents? Any detergents in the world, 99% of the detergent comes from one of our technology which makes biodegradable detergents. This was a serious challenge in 1960s when the detergents were not degradable. So there was a lot of froth formation that used to happen in rivers and ocean beds, right? So we are the first one to create this kind of a technology, which is now almost 100% being adopted. We don't make the final detergents, but certainly the fundamental molecules that go into it is something which we make. Similarly, I'll give you another example that we have a brand called Solstice, and that makes refrigerants. Now, this is the only unique molecule which was discovered by Honeywell, which has got less than 1 global warming potential and almost zero ozone depletion potentials. Very unique. We are seeing a lot of adoption of this in Europe, USA. India has not really gone ahead and adopted such kind of product, but eventually we are seeing a lot of interest in India and people adopting it. And that is something which I pointed out, like this is one of the key driver where now the customers are already demanding something which is unique. Most of the countries are more than 1000 GWP plus. This particular product is less than one. So we have been, there is a strong focus on driving sustainable products. These are a couple of examples which I gave. We have hundreds of such examples we can talk on.
Absolutely, Deepak. And I think based on what we heard, it's very interesting that to note that sustainability is mainstream. And not just that, it is a topic that's been explored for quite some time amongst many of your organizations. Let's do a quick poll now. Avinash, if we can bring up the questions. The poll is intended for our panelists to just get a pulse of the kind of audience we have today. And for us to also contextualize the responses to, to what you're expecting as well. So the questions are as follows. First is, are you representing an engineering service provider or a global capability center? If you're not representing either, you can hold off the participation in this question. The other question is, how big a priority is sustainability within the context of your organization? We just heard from the panelists how big it is for them, what is driving it for them. And finally, how would you evaluate your success in terms of driving sustainability initiatives within the organization or sustainability projects within your organization? And when I say organization, I'm looking from the standpoint of you either being a GCC or a service provider, GCC delivering these initiatives for your parent organization or service providers doing it for customers. So if we can have your oaths on this, please, and in about 10 seconds, we can have the results. Avinash, can we have the results, please? Okay, so we have a good participation from service providers. Overwhelming 67% state that it's a big priority. Nobody says it's a low priority. So we've chosen the right topic for today's discussion. And it's also interesting that yes, many of these initiatives are successful. And as we go through the conversation, we will also look at how do we drive better impact, a higher probability of success through efficient ways to drive better impact around sustainability initiatives. So thank you very much. So let's proceed with our next theme of discussion. And this time, I'll start with you, Ravindra. So you spoke about the fact that it's an important imperative in Samsung from a global standpoint. What we would like to understand as a part of this round of conversation is how are you aligning to the HQ priorities? So I'm sure the India Center is playing a key role. And what are the proactive steps that you're taking from an India GCC standpoint to deliver on the global sustainability imperatives or initiatives of your organization?
Okay, from the GCC point of view, so we are primarily trying to address the environment impact or through energy efficiency in buildings and smart homes. So that's the primary goal that we have, and also the other role we are playing is in galaxy reuse or upcycling. We call it galaxy upcycling because people tend to tend to change their phone every 3 years, right? 3 to 4 years, there is a phone change. There's always a very good working phone at your home. What can you do with it? So those are some of the focus areas, or those are some of the funded activities that we are running at GCC in Bangalore. To understand a little more, like if you take our what you call the Galaxy upcycling program, we've been able to deliver what you call I-like product where we are partnered with Fundus Camera, and it is so we have delivered something like 300 kits around 5 countries around the globe. Whereby these kits are used, one of the major causes of blindness are, due to non-detection, and you don't detect some early conditions in the retina, etc., and get some simple treatments going in the early phases of the eye loss or vision loss. So this combination of the Galaxy phone and the Fundus camera, is allowing a very easy way for health workers in the ground to quickly check the retina of patients in the rural areas, low economic areas. And so this allows like a quick photograph of the retina. There's an AI engine working on the phone which tries to give a quick alert there is some problem, and then connects you with the telemedicine system at the back end, right? So this is something which has now reached around 80,000 plus people around the globe. So 5 countries, as I said, India, Bangladesh, Morocco, and many others. We are also working with some of the hospitals here, around 4 to 5 hospitals in India. Arisen Eye Hospital, etc., is one of the examples. So this is where we are trying to look at how Galaxy phone can be reused to serve, instead of it going to a landfill, So sustainability has to be driven at multiple levels. How do you source? What you call consciously, how do you recycle some of the products? Either it could be the whole product or some of the plastic, etc., and how to dispose. So this is one example of how we recycle the whole Galaxy phone. In terms of the energy efficiency, we are doing a lot of research in the area of energy management in buildings. So and homes basically. So if you look at your air conditioner, your washing machine takes up about 40% of your energy that you consume at home. So one of our research is in the building energy management. So whereby we see that most of the time the energy management in the building is done as per a timetable rather than as per the real data that is available in terms of usage of the building rooms, or in terms of time of the day when the building is populated, etc. Right. So if you take in all of these into and put it into an intelligence model, AI model, you will be able to. We have been able to show that you can save anywhere between 20 to 30% of electricity running a building. Correct. So these are some of the things that we have deployed in multiple sites across the globe, like in Poland, in many campuses, university campuses in Korea, and also our own buildings where we are trying to show that where we are trying to not only show, we're proving that we are saving around 15 to 30% of energy by just taking into consideration how people use the facility by pre-cooling the facility during low energy cost regimes, etc. So these are some of the research areas that we involve in, and we have been able to deliver initiatives which have helped make some global social impacts.
That's great to know. I'll now move on to Jayant. Jayant, again, what's Forvia doing from the standpoint of delivering on global sustainability initiatives? You did mention the fact that it's a big priority, building products in that context. So what's the role that the India GCC is playing in terms of building those products? And more importantly, what is it that you're doing in terms of building capabilities to drive drive sustainability initiatives. And we will come to the innovation that won the award in a bit, but maybe if you could focus on these two themes.
Yeah, so thanks, Karan. And for Forvia, for sure, yeah, we are one team across all different locations, and we are working towards a greener planet. And we have 5 BGs in our in Forvia as such, and each of these BGs are working on sustainability. Yeah, and I guess the primary thing that we are using is something called a life cycle analysis. Yeah. I talked about our carbon reduction goals that we have set for ourselves, and life cycle analysis is one of the key measures that you can use in order to understand the new products are more sustainable or less sustainable than previous. Yeah. So within this theme, we have 3 main areas. One is use less. Yeah, broadly speaking. Yeah, use less, use better, and use longer. Yeah. So use less, use better, use longer. And use less, what we are trying to do, each of the BGs are trying to design products which will use less material. Yeah, that itself helps in reducing carbon. So for clean mobility, we are trying to use less steel, less fiber, less less assembly components, parts, etc. Ravindra talked about electricity, and that's also a part of it. Yeah, that's part of our scope 1, scope 2 for sustainability, in which at our facility we are trying to reduce our electric consumption by several measures, by automated switch off of lights, by LED, etc. But those are not really products, but mainly process, yeah, related topics. We are also using better as in we are trying to derive new materials. And we have actually a new actually we have a new division within our overall company called Materiact, and you can look it up on the net. And the main objective of this division is to create new materials, new sustainable materials. I'll tell you an example. Yeah, Seed for the Planet. One of our business groups is seating. So we are working on a new material which is bio-based, biofiber-based, and not leather-based. Leather is actually, you will be surprised, has a big carbon footprint compared to fiber, etc. And we are also looking at interior, some of the stuff that you do not see, yeah, which is not visible to the driver, but still, it is currently made of plastic, etc. We are trying to replace it with a bio type of material, yeah. And these materials show remarkable reduction in carbon footprint. On clean mobility side, we are working on very interesting projects such as electrically heated catalyst, which is absolutely useful for NOx, carbon dioxide, etc. reduction, and absolutely essential for India. You know what's happening in Delhi. I don't know, Karan, whether you are in Delhi or not, but it's a big mess there. So this is something that certainly we can help. We have also new tools, new products which we are developing, for example, hydrogen storage systems, and these are actively getting traction. The government of India is also very, very keen on this, and this will also help towards this objective of sustainability. So the GCC in India is absolutely very well integrated with these global projects, and we are actively contributing it. And for using longer, which is another theme, our GCC in India is also helping develop AI-based technologies for remote monitoring and for emission control of our products, which are placed globally. Yeah. For example, we have one product which is AI-based product, which is installed on power stations and on ships, which are like floating around in the world. I mean, ships are floating around, not power stations, but power stations are at remote locations and very difficult to monitor. And if they are polluting, start to pollute, then we send a maintenance, or either the customer sends a maintenance person in order to control that and repair it in advance. And this is very, very useful. We have got really good accolades from our end customer as well. So by and large, our theme for Forvia that we have taken is use less, use better, and use longer. And I think all the business groups are working in this direction, and including clean mobility.
Wonderful. Jayant, the follow-up question is around how are you building these capabilities? Is there like a separate COE, or are you? Is there a specific approach that you're taking in terms of being able to deliver on the sustainability-related products and services from an India standpoint, or do you believe it's just the mainstream approach that you typically have for your other initiatives?
Yeah, I can talk about the globally as well as at India as well. Yeah, so there are multiple levels of approaches. For example, in some areas we do not have the knowledge for which we are creating joint ventures with some of with not joint venture partnerships, let's say, with some of the universities as well as some of other startups which are in this particular field. Um, but of course, we need internal knowledge. Yeah, for example, hydrogen storage systems. Yeah, so far we are before last year, this was an area in which we did not have so much for knowledge on carbon fiber and on composite materials as such within clean mobility. So we set up an internal school and in collaboration with other notable institutes in the country, in order to retrain our team members and so that they can work on these new products, etc. So we are utilizing our existing team members and also reaching out to academia as well as other startups in order to build capability. And that's the only way, honestly. Yeah, there's a I would say, I'm sure others might have a different approach.
Sure, Jan. That was helpful insight. Moving on to you, Deepak. How are you aligning Honeywell India GCC to the global imperatives? And of course, how are you proactively building those capabilities? And also, I mean, it's what you articulated earlier was the fact that it's not something new. You've been doing that for many years now, but what is different maybe with this becoming a little more gaining a little more spotlight in today's era? So how are you looking at this differently in the current times?
If you look at from a sustainability, it is deeply ingrained in the business objectives itself, right? And as a part of that, Honeywell has two different divisions that came up as an outcome of driving sustainability. One was the STS business, which is called the Sustainability Technology Solution. And the other that came up was SBT, which is Sustainable Building Technology Solutions, right? So if you look at from an STS perspective or Sustainable Technology Solutions perspective, we have broadly, I would say, five pillars, right? So what is important is one of the largest impact to the atmosphere comes from burning fuels, right? So renewable fuels are the next way to go through it. We are already seeing a lot of these things come in India, with ethanol getting blended to make gasoline more sustainable. There are technologies which we have developed which can help make jet fuel as well as diesel more sustainable. So we have two technologies. One is eco-fining technology, which is basically converting any natural oil, vegetable oil, any kind of oil from a natural source to convert into jet or diesel, right? The other way of looking at it, since many of these feedstocks for an eco-fining technology would kind of compete with food. From an India perspective, India has gone big on ethanol, right? There are huge amount of investment that is done in increasing the ethanol capacity in India just for 20% blending. But we see that with the infrastructure in place, ethanol can be a wonderful feedstock to decarbonize some of the jet fuel sector as well as the diesel part of it. And yes, we have developed a technology called ethanol to jet and ethanol to diesel. And absolutely, these are some things which eventually will slowly start getting adopted. We have already done 2 sales globally of the first ethanol to jet unit that's going to come in USA. But we are seeing that this is something which will get eventually adopted here. So that's the renewable fuel part of it. Plastics is a problem. Well, it comes with a lot of good features, and that's why it is sparing. It's used all across in different areas. Our mobile phones will never be lighter unless you use a bit of plastic in it. Nor our laptops will be laptop. They'll all be desktops, right? So absolutely, plastic is important. The best way of doing it is to manage it well, right? Collection is an important part. Secondly, if you can effectively recycle it, you can certainly make a best use of the plastic. So we have one technology which we came up with is called upcycle technology. This technology can convert any waste plastic into the fundamental building block called monomers, and that can again be made into flesh plastics, very virgin plastics, and that can help minimize the new fossil fuels you're using to make plastics. So that's another vertical which we are doing. We also understand that the availability of renewable energy, either solar or wind, is not uniformly distributed all across the world, right? And since they are not uniformly distributed, it's extremely important that we have right kind of storage, right kind of transfer, and there are wide variety of uh, ways in which people do transfer energy, right? Hydrogen is one way, ammonia is another way. People use lithium ion batteries. So the third vertical is all about how do we have energy storage, more effective energy storage for smaller, medium, and large size storage. And the last particular vertical is decarbonization, right? Decarbonization is all about, okay, how do you capture carbon dioxide? Capturing carbon dioxide, a lot of technologies, processes are available. You can capture it. There are established technologies. But what do you do with captured CO2, right? People who have drilled, oil wells, they have one way of putting it in the oil well itself. It seems that is something which works. But look at countries like India. There are many countries like India who does not have those kind of oil wells. What do they do with CO2? They can go ahead and capture it, store it. What do you do then, right? So we have been working on several technologies to make effective usage of CO2. Some of these technologies are, okay, can we convert CO2 into some petrochemicals? These are going to make it more effective. We'll have greener petrochemicals available. And petrochemicals are nothing. I mean, the plastic is a type of petrochemical. There are a lot of other things. I mean, say even clothing business, any clothes which we have, any resins which we wear. I mean, so those are all petrochemicals. So can we make it greener? So that's the fourth vertical as a part of sustainable technology solution. The second business is sustainable building technology, right? A lot of buildings, a lot of air conditioning needed, a lot of energy goes into it. The quality of air, the quality of the amount of energy those building consumes is massive. So our sustainable building technology group is focused on making sure that we minimize the carbon footprint from the business perspective, right? How do we optimize the energy consumption? How do we monitor what are the major sources of energy and minimize the amount of energy that is? So that's what sustainable building technology. There are a lot of offerings which we have in that space, and these are software, hardware, all kind of offerings which can help optimize the energy consumption in the for any building. I should not forget the kind of initiative specifically we are driving. Apart from STS and SBT, there's a very unique kind of initiative which is called Center of Excellence for Sustainability, which is run out of Madurai office in India itself. And the aim here is to make sure that we do a life cycle analysis of every product and services we offer. So the COE would work as a part of design team and would constantly estimate the CO2 impact of any product or services which we offer. So that way, it is ingrained within the design itself. Before any product or services goes out to a customer, we know that CO2 impact, and we can accurately tell our customer how they are able to make things make their how can they make themselves more sustainable. So that was a holistic view of how Honeywell is addressing various sustainability parameters.
That's very interesting, Deepak. And from what you outlined, it seemed like there was a very strong focus on the R of ER&D, which is the research on many of the topics that you spoke about. My follow-up question is, how are you actually building the so-called research foundations within the organization? So what are some of the key success factors to being able to drive some of these initiatives that you spoke about?
And absolutely, Karan, this is very, very important, right? Innovation is the key of it, right? The heart of it. So we have within the organization, there are several avenues in which we encourage people to come up with innovative ideas, innovative problem statements. Identifying the problem statement is where the innovation starts. And absolutely, we are driving that all across the organization in our 4 R&D centers in India, including what we have in our global locations too. And all these ideas are collated, reviewed very thoroughly. The business looks into it, it gets funded, and then we go ahead and drive a full-fledged solution which uses the entire ecosystem. Considering the fact that Honeywell has wide business portfolio, we are into oil and gas, we are into aerospace, we are into safety and productivity solutions, we are into industrial automation. So looking at the wide variety of portfolios which we are in, we come up with the unique solutions that can address all aspects of what we are offering. I don't know, did I answer your question or?
Did, but also I'm looking at some, ingredients that you may have in terms of the right kind of talent or training.
Absolutely. Okay.
Something
And
on those
sure.
lines.
Yeah. So from a skill set development perspective, and I would say like we have almost 70% of our organization as engineers and scientists. The center which I work in, we have people who are PhDs in chemical engineering. There are PhDs in their subjects, and absolutely that talent is equally important for driving any kind of innovation. There we come up with a lot of skill set mapping. There is a very strong, what we call it as technical resource review, that is getting done based on the new technology landscape we are working. And every year we look at what are the skill set we are going to develop, what are the skill set we are going to hire, so that we continue to keep our skills strong to drive many of these new technology. Absolutely important. And India is a hub of it, right? Getting it, the reasons we have 4 technology centers in India is because the skills are easily available. So absolutely, that's a very strong advantage we have in India here.
Perfect. Yeah, Deepak. So Rahmat, moving on to you, maybe you can share some perspectives from Schneider Electric in terms of what are you doing to make some of these sustainability initiatives successful, or in terms of the center delivering on engineering for some of the products and services of Schneider.
Absolutely. Thanks, Karan. So yeah, I mean, as I already said, right, Schneider, and we all know that Schneider being a company who has been on the sustainability journey, and who has been into sustainability business for almost 15 plus years. So it's like sustainability is part of our core. It's our core in our values, in our culture, and also our businesses. So what we are at Schneider Electric, that's the reason we are convinced that looking at the current climate change issues that we have, and the decarbonization, strategies that all the organization are following, we are convinced that a world more electric. Why we say is more electric, because I think electricity is the only energy that can be decarbonized over time, and also because electricity, as we all know, is by far the most efficient energy if we compare to other sources of energy. We also, that's the reason we believe that a world more electric for decarbonization, and also a more digital. When I say digital, from a perspective that digital makes a lot of invisible thing visible. What I mean by that is, using all these digital technologies, all the we are able to generate those insights around energy usage. So that really helps us and our customers in optimizing and also eliminating energy wastage. So we are bringing in indirectly, we're bringing in a lot of efficiency by doing this. So more electric, more digital is something we call it as, this vision is called as electricity 4.0. And if you look at it, most of our initiatives, and most of our commitments that we have is based on this vision of electricity 4.0. Other than this, if you look at it, from a grid perspective, because you're talking about, we are being an energy management company, we want to leverage all the advancements in grid technology today. So for we feel that that's the right way for a carbon neutral future, right? And so we are looking at these technologies which are really helping us, the electrical grid being more efficient, more flexible, and capable of integrating renewable. So again, the one of the reasons that we're looking at these technologies, because this will help our electrical grid in integrating a lot of different sort of renewable energy sources. So these are like some of the areas that we are looking at from a smart grid perspective. Energy storage, as I think we already discussed about it, how we can leverage the energy storage, how by using a smart grid we can and smart grid and the lot of digital applications, we can actually develop a lot of insights which will help in a demand management, demand and response management from a utility perspective. Using microgrid, how we can technologies, how we can actually provide energy to remote areas. So one of these initiatives that at a global level that we are working at, as we call it, as access to energy and digital, of course, where we are trying to see how we can provide energy to remote areas in India and African countries, using our microgrid technologies and also using our energy storage solutions that we have. So in a way, we are trying to, our main theme from at a global level is life is on. We want every human on this earth, they have a right for electricity, they have a right to get the right digital solutions for it. So this is one of the areas, from an issue, from a global perspective, the initiative that we are working on. Other than this, if I'm looking at from Schneider's business perspective, we look at, we are considered as a sustainability consultant. We actually help our customers in driving their sustainability growth, by helping them enhance, improvise their sustainability strategy, helping them in calculating and measuring their sustainability ROI, return of investment, both from helping them in investing in the right renewable energy, maintaining their competitive edge. So in a way, all these initiatives are really helping us, from a global level, to see how we are to reach our own sustainability goals. Walk the talk. We want to ourselves internally as an organization follow the sustainability goals, as well as we want to help our customers in their sustainability journey. So being from a GCC, which is like India R&D Center, Schneider Electric, which is in Bangalore, I think our main aim is to follow, to align to these business strategies that at a Schneider headquarter level that we have defined. So to do that, we are looking at multiple things. First, I think first and foremost, that we follow is build these awareness. We want every engineer, every employee in the R&D center in India to be aware of these sustainability goals that we have. So we provide the right information, we provide the right exposure to our teams around that. We support and encourage our teams to collaborate at a global level. So what we do is, we have, we look at from a global plus local. We call it as a global. We believe in a definition of term called global, where we have our global teams, both from different geographic, working together, building solutions not just at a global level but also at a local level. For instance, our India R&D team works on India for India initiatives. We work on the India for global initiatives. So we are giving priorities to both the local needs as well as the global needs. So using these strategies and these processes that has been set, we are trying to align with the business at at a global level as well as a local level. Other than this, I think people is the most important thing as an organization for us. So we are trying to build our competencies in these directions. We have, if you look at it, in India R&D today, we have good competencies around, be it electronics, electromechanical, software, materials area, and multiple other disciplines that we are growing here. We're building those competencies. So we have good global teams here. We have local teams here who are catering to all the requirements, be it from a green electronics perspective, the technology that we are trying to leverage. We are trying to do innovations around, using digital twin as one of the areas that we want to leverage and help our customers, understand the overall product, how we can literally build our product, better quality product, a better performance in the existing product. We are also looking at, from a materials perspective, and I say, what are these materials that our products are made of, right? Can we look at more recyclable plastic? Can we look at green metals for building these products, or can we move from using plastics to a more recycled materials for our packaging? So these are the different areas also that we are trying to leverage and trying to align with our global goals or priorities that has been set from a Schneider perspective.
That's perfect. As we move on to the next segment, I'll just a quick word for our audience. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post those questions, and we'll last 10 minutes of this conversation will be focused on the questions from the audience. So feel free to add your questions. I'll pick it up towards the end of this conversation. Coming back, while we spoke about many things around priorities, the role of India GCC, what do you see as the challenges in being able to deliver on these initiatives, the so-called sustainability initiatives, from a GCC standpoint? Where have you faced the maximum challenge? Are these challenges typical of any other challenge that you would face with delivering other initiatives for your HQ, or is it something different? So I'll just keep it open, so anybody can pitch in and share their thoughts here.
Maybe Karan, I can.
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I think what we believe here, to be able to do something good, right? As an organization, maybe some initiative towards sustainability, there always will be challenges. So that is part of our learning and growing, right? So if I have to list some of the challenges that we have come across, I think first and foremost, I feel is the mindset change and behavior, right? So as an organization, I think the first thing is how we shift the mindset of our employees, how we uh, make everybody realize how critical, how important, and crucial sustainability is for all our, and how sustainability is driving our innovations, and how it is critical for us, not just as an employee, but also as a resident of this planet. We want to save this planet. We want it to be more green and more decarbonized, right? So that's one of the important challenge that we face. But I think this is gradually changing. We have overcome this challenge already. We have these common goals, this common thought process that is going on in the organization, which is really acting in favor of us, in building these sustainability solutions for our customers. Other than this, I feel technology barriers, of course, because we have a lot of, if you look at the technology is ever changing, it's changing frequently, so frequently. So the big question comes in is how we can leverage, and what type of technology really is useful for us in our journey. So leveraging that, understanding what is happening from an industry perspective, and from an advancement in technology perspective, and how we can leverage this and bring it into our culture, bring innovation into our part of our everyday life, is another thing that I look at. Other than this, I think other things, I mean, if from an organization, from a business perspective, I think we all are facing this supply chain complexity, of course. So we are trying to do some innovation around these areas, so that I think we can convert these challenges into opportunities, and we overcome these challenges and see how we can work more closely with our suppliers, ensuring more transparency, traceability, and overall it can actually help our organization in the right way. So this is the third point. And I think the last point that I want to talk about is the engagement, right? Stakeholder engagement. So I think how we one of the important challenges that we all see is, okay, we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about building a lot of solutions around it, but making our stakeholders understand, and adapt these solutions, and see how we can, build a real sustainable future working together, is another thing that we need to, look at. So we need to overcome these challenges. I think the best way that we have tried to overcome these challenges is through our effective communication with our stakeholders, the involvement that we have with our stakeholders in certain decision making processes, and we are also creating a lot of value propositions for our stakeholders and our partners. So these are the areas, challenges, but I think we have been trying to convert these challenges into opportunities for us, for innovating, for building very good sustainable solutions for our customers and partners.
Yeah, so maybe I can add, Karan. Yeah, thanks for. So maybe I'll just talk about technology. Tesla, right? So Tesla, when it first made electric cars, I mean, it was almost bankrupt. And the reason it was bankrupt is because there are so many technological challenges that they had to solve, to build a really good product which customers would love to buy. And similarly, when we are talking, let's take a particular example, use less, which is one of our themes. Well, the easiest way, when you design a particular component, you make it as thick as possible, which customer can buy, so that it will last forever. But the point is not that. When we say use less, you really need to put brains together in order to understand how can we design a product which uses the least amount of material but meets all the customer requirements. Yeah, and this is incredibly difficult. And that's where innovation comes into picture. Yeah, when multiple brains come together and think about this problem and to try to solve it, the problem becomes compounded when it is a completely new technology, such as hydrogen storage systems. Yeah, wherein you literally have to build stuff from scratch, because it's completely different physics, and it takes a bit of time, engineering, science, efforts, collaboration in order to generate a product which we can sell at a particular price and which meets all the requirements. So the technological hurdles are are actually very real. Of course, like Ramat mentioned, it's also a mindset change which needs to happen. But I think this is something that we can overcome if we work together collectively.
Any other thoughts, Deepak? And,
Yeah. Maybe I can bit on the challenges. I mean, like if you look at it as a corporate, there is the goal set and vision set, right? Like 2030, we are going to be carbon neutral in the mobile and the appliances business, and semiconductors by 2050, etc. So those are some of the goals already set. Now we already have a corporate structure where there is a sustainability corporate VP and funding coming in, right? And based on the normal projects, on how you pitch those projects to those VPs. So that is funds, that is a goal. Now the challenge comes in how do you apply it to your to the researcher? I mean, how do you create awareness? What can I as like let's take the Indian context, or we have 22 plus ORCs around the globe. So how do they identify how they can contribute to the global to the product or to the sustainability goals? Correct. So that's where the real challenge. I mean, I think that was the question you asked, right? What is the challenge we face? So the would be awareness of how do you apply research to sustainability initiatives. Has to develop some more, even in the research community as well as in academia, because most of the research and most of the this is about new features, new solutions, and doing something eye-catching. So that's one challenge. I feel that how do you build more students, and how do you build more engineers who are picking up these topics and creating proposals and initiatives. That is one. The second I would believe would be, how do you bring it into common culture? I mean, so some of the initiatives we take, like if you look at it, if you look at any of these energy consumption reports coming out of the White House, etc., you'll see that the data centers are the largest consuming power hungry entities in the world today. I mean, they consume more power than all the washing machines in a particular country or something like that. So if you look at it, I mean, it's one of the largest consumption of electricity. A query on ChatGPT consumes 1 bottle of distilled water, right? So any query that you give on ChatGPT or any of these AI tools. So given this, that how do you basically, given the fact that energy consumption is so much, how do you build it into your culture? That's what. So one of the initiatives we are taking is how do you bring energy conscious programming to our engineers, right? So how do you build that consciousness to the developers, to the designers, to the architects? How do you build in that fact that how do you build your code for your what you call for the radio access layer, or be it for any of the AI models? How do you be energy efficient? when you're doing it on the cloud or on your hardware. On the single device like mobile, we are already very energy conscious because we need to make the battery last longer. But when you put everything on the cloud, people feel that processing is infinite and energy is infinite, and they go a little not so very disciplined when they go there. So that we're bringing that culture uh, in some of the technology development would be one of the other challenge. So culture and awareness is what I would building culture for sustainable development and awareness about what can they do from a research standpoint. At the base level, at a corporate level, we are aware what we want to do. We want to recycle the plastic. We want to recycle the aluminum. We want to reduce the energy. But at a engineer, at a individual ambition level, we need to bring that awareness. So those two things I would bring to the table.
Deepak, some thoughts on this front?
I'll give a different perspective to the challenges we have, right? Sustainability absolutely can be classified into two categories. One is what do you do to minimize usage? And I think I've been talked with multiple participants too, right? How do we go ahead and lower the usage of energy? How do we lower the usage of things which is not that CO2 compatible? And that's these are kind of low-hanging fruits, which I guess various organizations are adopting wherever it looks economical. The biggest challenge comes in adopting new technologies. So new technologies, even if those technologies exist, at this point of time, we've not seen the scale of it come in, right? Because of the lack of scale, we see that the cost of adopting those technologies are high. And it's like a catch-22 situation. Okay, whether the adoption will start first or the cost will come down, there is a lot of competition between them. And if you look at especially the developed countries who are adopting it, they are either doing it through legislations or through incentivizations. And I'll give you some examples here. Now, if you look at adoption of some of these renewable fuels in mostly USA, European countries, is there. USA follows an incentivization route, which makes it economical for them to adopt. If they don't adopt it, they lose money and the government pays for it. Whereas if you go to European market, it is all about legislation. You will not be able to sell a product unless you do a necessary blending of some renewable fuels and fuels. India has not adopted it. India drove a lot of ethanol blending into gasoline, and we all know there are 20% targets which we are going to meet. Now think about from an India perspective. If you look at from an ethanol price, there are multiple technologies through it comes. If you are converting sugar into ethanol, that costs you somewhere around 40-50 rupees per liter. Certainly easy to blend it into a 90 rupees per liter gasoline that gets sold in the market, right? There is now most of the sugar which can go into that particular route is all done. Now, what is the next generation of technology? That's called a 2G, where you convert biomasses into ethanol directly. The cost of producing those alcohols through a 2G route is typically of the order of 110 to 120 rupees per liter. Now, how do you go ahead and blend it in a 90 rupees per liter product? That's the challenge, right? So what I really mean to say is this is one such example. We are seeing adoption of some of the newer technologies is a challenge, irrespective of the fact, simply because of the fact that the economies are not there at this point of time. We will eventually see a lot of legislation come in, and we will see a lot of adoption of it, but we'll have to wait. But from a technology development perspective, Honeywell is all through it. We have technologies in almost all the areas. We're ready to offer technology as soon as some of these market opportunities come in. At this point of time, economics are not in favor. And I can give you another example. Like we talk about green hydrogen a lot. The cost of producing green hydrogen can be anywhere between 1.5 to 2 times the cost of hydrogen that is conventionally produced using fossil fuel, right? I understand there is a CO2 impact, but how that economics, how the economics are going to work, right? Similarly, the cost of for electrolyzers and those things are way too high compared to what people can adopt and make an economic sense out of it. So economics is a big challenge at this point of time in adoption of new technology. People are really adopting everything which is low-hanging fruits, easy to implement, a marginal improvement on the existing processes. So that's the point which I make. I think others covered most of the other points.
Perfect. As we move into the final segment of this conversation today, I would probably have the audience just share their feedback on how the discussion went today. You can type in your feedback in the chat box, and also feedback in terms of how you would like some of these conversations to be curated better the next time around we do an immersive session. So please feel free to add your feedback as well. The final segment is, I wanted to understand when it comes to Indian ER&D and more specifically, in fact, Avinash, let's bring up the questions in a little while. While they type the feedback, we will let's get the qualitative feedback and then let's run the survey. Okay. What I wanted to understand is from a India ER&D perspective and with respect to sustainability, are we just scratching the surface or can we do more? And what does it take to do more? So I'll start with Jayant. Maybe each of you can provide your closing thoughts in about a minute.
Oh, we can definitely do more. I think we have to do more. It's not a matter of it must be done. Yeah. And for example, and we are contributing that way as well. I mentioned about the two solutions earlier. We have to see how we can use new AI-based technologies for extending life of our existing portfolio. We have to see how we can use them for reducing pollution. We have to see about what kind of new solution that we can provide to our end customers based on this. We have to develop new technologies which can meet new zero emission solutions such as hydrogen storage systems, etc. And this is an ongoing activity which will continue and which has to continue. Compared to the developed world, the need is much more higher actually in India. Yeah, when we look at our pollution, in most of our cities, I think it's a need of the hour for sure, and sustainability is an important element of this. And honestly, I mean, on the previous topic, I think part of the culture change also has to start with us as leaders. Yeah, I was reading the other day, when there was the COP 26 or 27, I forgot. Then there were many jets flying into Geneva, etc., and talking about climate sustainability as well as climate change. This somehow basically is not right. In our own personal lives, I should drive this change. For example, I have driven this change in my own life as well. I take a cycle to work every day. I don't come by use my automobile, and that's very important to give the right messaging to our team members. And I think bit by bit, I think we should contribute. Yeah, not just on product, services, tools, technology, cost, etc., but from a personal standpoint. Yeah.
Rahmat, over to you.
Yeah, Karan. So, so just giving the overview, the summary of a discussion. I think we had a lot of learnings today from each of the leaders. So, what I feel is today, I think each of us, every living being on Earth, we all know that the carbon concentration is rising exponentially. We are sitting in a situation where the climate change is also drastically changing, right? So, I think it's becoming very, very important and very, very crucial for all of us to act fast. So, how do we really create that faster path, leverage all the intelligent technologies, do a lot of innovations at every stage, and also build solutions which are sustainable solutions, which are not just from a sustainability perspective is important, but also which is cost effective, as Deepak already said, and I think so that it becomes easy for our customers, our partners, the world to adapt to these solutions, and we are able to move to a sustainable future, faster at a faster rate. So that is one thing. Other than that, what I want to add is that, and I think this is not possible for us to do it in silo. We really need to collaborate. We need to really create that ecosystem, be it ecosystem with with industry partners, with stakeholders, with our customers, keeping our customers driving certain innovations while partnering with our customers, and also academias, universities, which are we have very good competencies and skill set being built in these universities. So we need to be leveraging that, and avoiding redoing the things again, learning from them, learning from our failures, so that we do not go back one step, but we actually proceed one step fast, right? So that is something from my end which I want to add. So let's collaborate together and create a sustainable future.
Perfect. We have 30 seconds for each one of you, Deepak and Ravindra. So maybe Deepak, you can go first.
Sure. So when we talk about, I mean, say where we are, I think we are just scratching the surface. The technology development to a large extent is yet to happen. They are mostly at a research stage. Eventually, maybe 10 years down the line, you will see that there is a wide variety of portfolio that these are the real technologies that we are waiting for. Absolutely will start coming. And when we talk about, I would have, sorry, you gave me 30 seconds, so I'm not giving you an example here, but absolutely, if you look at any pieces of it, we are, at this point of time, we are looking at it at a macro level. We are not going into the micro level there. Every macro will have at least 10 to 100 of developments that is needed before that products become more effective and sustainable. That's the point which I'd like to make.
Ravindra, your final thoughts.
Yeah, so maybe what I started with was that we all ingest around one credit card worth of plastic every day, every week, right? So engineers at Samsung have been able to develop the eco bubble washing machine, which reduces the shedding by 54%, or come up with a microfilter which does 99% of the filtering. So I want to see more of engineers, look at take up such problems, solve those problems in our everyday products, bring in more cultural change in terms of like whenever you do a design review of anything for a new product, bring that as also one of your elements of review. So I hope to see a little more transparent and committed sustainability journey. Like Samsung does it through partners like Patagonia. We do it through some of the certification authorities like UL Labs, eco logos, or gold logos, etc., or the Carbon Trust, logos. So I hope that all corporates adopt a transparent, verifiable, journey to sustainability going forward.
Wonderful. So thank you very much, all the panelists, for a very wonderful and a deeply insightful sessions today. I know audience had a lot of questions, but due to the paucity of time, we couldn't get to all questions. Some of those questions, in a way, were answered by the panelists. I thoroughly enjoyed this session, so thank you very much. Avinash, you can bring up the feedback poll, and we can get right. So we have a couple of questions. How willing are you to implement some of the best practices, learnings gathered from this session? How relevant was today's session? How do you rate today's session? So, yeah, we would like to thank the panelists for participating, as well as the audience for your questions and also for your participation today. Thank you all very much, and we look forward to come back to you with more immersive sessions. But before we leave, we have part 2 of the session tomorrow, where we will hear the perspectives from the engineering service provider. So I look forward to a lot of you participating in that session, and maybe some of the questions can also be brought up as a part of that session as well. So thank you very much. Absolutely loved having this discussion today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karan.
Thanks.
Thank you, Karan.
Thank you.
Maybe if some questions need to be answered, you can forward them.
Sure, absolutely. We will probably have it collated and have it shared, and maybe you can then look at what is relevant to you and answer them.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.